So you're ready to increase your sales and ultimately your income in your business? Well, I got 6 tips that'll help you do just that. Let's get to it. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining me for another episode. So we're going to hop right into how to increase your sales. So just briefly, I want to kind of give you a little bit of background on who I am and what I've done with sales. So I got my initial taste of sales years ago in network marketing. I was a part of a network marketing company that provided a travel service. We did really good in that business, me and my wife. We took it from just an idea over the kitchen counter into a residual income that we created for ourselves. We hit all types of bonuses, car bonuses, sales bonuses, not only for myself, but I helped a lot of the individuals that I brought in do the same thing. We went on numerous vacations and had success. And like I said, was able to help me and my wife create a residual income where we was able to create some type of, create freedom. And, my wife had lost her job, and at that time in life, I just hit residual, and it basically replaced her income. So that was my initial experience with sales. But to continue on in life, I actually started working with one of the major or prominent utilities company in this area. And in that utilities company, they sold a lot of products. So when I got there, there was already an individual that had been the #1 seller for a lot of years. And you know me, I'm a competitive individual. So I said, if that individual can do it, I can do it better. So fast forward, make a long story short, I ended up being the #1 sales earner in the whole entire country for that utilities company. I actually was the #1 sales earner for 18 months in a row. I actually did so well and broke so many records that I was asked to start training the new representatives that came on board for the utilities company. I started not only training individuals in my local building to do sales, but I started doing calls, training other facilities in different states on how to increase their sales. I was doing anywhere from 150 to 200 sales a month for that company. So, I put in a lot of sales. And I say all that to tell you, look, what I'm about to give you is things that I had to implement and learn through trial and error. When I first got started in sales, I had no expertise in that, had no knowledge. I didn't know anything about it. But one thing I do know, if you're willing to learn and work, you can become great at anything you want to do in life. You just got to decide to do it. And that's what I did. So I want to just give you guys some of the things that I encountered that were beneficial for me along my journey in sales. So now that we wrap that up, let's jump right into it. The first tip to increase your sales is don't sell you. What do I mean by that? See, when I was in that network marketing company in the travel business, it was twofold. There was a travel capacity, and then there was an actual side where you could earn income and build a business. Well, when I saw the product, the business side appealed to me. So when I started showing this opportunity to everyone in my network, guess what I was preaching to everybody? I was pushing the business side. Well, my wife, and I will put a plug in there for this, if you find a good wife, find a great thing. Because my wife was seeing how I was pitching this, and she came to me and pulled me to the side and said, look, you got to start selling this to what appeals to the person. Stop selling it off of what appeals to you. See, what I started to do was when I sat down with people, instead of immediately pitching them the opportunity to create a business, I started asking them questions like this. So what do you want to do with this? What do you see yourself doing this? How do you see this being of value to you? And right then with those questions, they would tell me, well, I see it as a way where I can create more vacations for me and my family. Or I see it as a way where I can use the business side to create income, to provide more financial freedom for my family. Just by asking those questions right there, I kind of was able to determine which way to pitch. So instead of just always pitching my product to the person as if it's a business opportunity, I would find out what stood out to that person, what appealed to that person. If it was the business, I'm gonna go that route. If it was the travel capacity, I'm gonna go that route. There was a volunteer capacity of the product too, where you could pour into the community. If I see that you was into that, I would pitch that to you. I stopped pitching the product off of what appealed to me, and I started finding out what appealed to the customer about my product, and that's what I used to pitch to them. So number one, don't sell to you, sell to the customer and what appeals to the customer. Second tip to implement if you want to increase your sales and ultimately your business income, you need to start selling why customers need your product. Sell why they need your product. See, when I was at that utilities company, we had a product that nobody sold. It offered the most commission, but it was the hardest to sell because there was a substantial deposit that had to be paid because the product had to be installed on the homes and things of that nature. So, long story short, nobody sold it, even though it was the most rewarding sale because it gave you some of the most highest commissions when you sold it. They were scared of it because they didn't think anybody would buy it because of the deposit. And when they pitched it, you could tell they was pitching it hesitantly because of the deposit price. Well, this is what I said. So it wasn't that the deposit was too high. The problem was we didn't provide enough value to the customer about the product to make the price of the deposit make sense. See, people will pay for what they value. Let me give you an example. Right now, people will go out and buy an iPhone that's almost $1,000. Some probably are $1,000. 25 years ago when the cell phone first came out, back in the early mid-90s, nobody would pay $800 or $1,000 for an iPhone. People thought that was crazy when the iPhone came out years ago. But see, people pay for an iPhone now and don't mind spending thousands of dollars. Why? Because the iPhone has become more valuable. See, your cell phone isn't just something to call people on. It's a computer. It's a way to stay in touch with your friends and family via social media, by the internet that's provided on your cell phone. It's a calculator now, It's a mini laptop. Your cell phone has provided way more valuable over the years, so people don't have a problem spending $1,000 for it. That's the same thing with the product that we were selling at our utilities company. People didn't see enough value, so they wasn't willing to pay the deposit. Well, I started showing them why the product would be valuable, why the product could bring convenience to their life, why the product was something that they should potentially purchase. And once I showed them enough value in the product itself, the deposit wasn't a problem for them to pay. And long story short, I ended up selling more of those products than anybody in the entire history of that utilities company. And you wanna know why? It's because I was able to show value to the potential customers. I was able to show them how valuable that product could be. So remember, show the customer the value and why they need your product. Number 3, if you want to increase your sales and ultimately increase the income in your business, you must have a confident attitude and not be cocky. If you're speaking in a way where you know without a shadow of a doubt that your product is going to bring value to that individual customer, that's speaking confident. But see, if you're going into the actual exposure to share the product and you're not listening to the customer, you're over talking them, you're loud talking to them, you're not valuing their opinion, that's being cocky. And that's going to rub people the wrong way. There's really no need to even elaborate on this. You can speak confidently without offending people. Never be cocky, be confident. Number 4, if you want to increase your sales and ultimately your income in your business, you must be knowledgeable of your product. And this one sounds so cliche. This one probably sounds like, duh, Will, you gotta be knowledgeable of your product. But I'm here to tell you, so many times I've seen people in training people on how to do sales and listening to people do sales, they don't know their product. And that will be the death of you. See, if you're able to confidently and easily answer any questions that a potential customer has about your product, you can put to rest any doubt or hesitations that they may have, because when you answer it confidently and in a timely manner and you sound like you know what you're talking about because you know your product, that creates a form of security or comfort with that customer. See, you have to do your due diligence in regards to knowing everything about your product in and out. See, most people just learn how to use the product they're selling. But what if a client comes in and they ask you about the warranty? What if the client asks you about how durable your product is? What are you going to do if you haven't looked at the warranty, if you haven't looked at the materials that the actual product is made out of? All you know is how to push power and how to use it. See, you got to educate yourself on the whole grasp of the product, all of the things that you wouldn't even think about. That's what I mean by doing your due diligence, looking at every aspect of the product and being knowledgeable and being able to deliver the right answer in a confident way. That will be a game changer for you when it's time to close. Because most people may like your product, but if you don't have a brand that's well established, you don't have a brand that has a reputation, they may be hesitant. That's when you have to come in and reassure them that they're making the right decision. Reassure them that this product will deliver. But you can only do that if you're knowledgeable about your product. So remember, be knowledgeable about whatever you're selling. Listen, if you're receiving value from today's content, I would love you to hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate you in advance. Now, moving on to the 5th tip to increase your sales and ultimately your income in your business. Never come off as needy for the sale. If you sound desperate, that will kill the sale immediately because people can sense that. You can't be thirsty going into a sales exposure. You can't be thirsty showing your product to customers. See, you got to remember this, ladies and gentlemen. That customer needs you because you have a product that can bring value to their life. That's how you have to see the whole exposure. Once you understand that, then there's no need to be needy or thirsty because you have something that they need. You have something that can bring value to their life. So you got to always handle the exposure like that. Never, never, never sound desperate because nobody's going to buy with anybody that's thirsty or desperate for a sale. Listen to me. All you have to do is be confident. You don't have to be needy. You don't have to be thirsty. That will kill your sale immediately. So remember, tip number 5, never, never come off as needy or desperate to get the sale. Lastly, the 6th tip to increase your sales and ultimately increase your income in your business, you must detach emotionally from the outcome. You have to be okay with getting the sale, and you have to be okay if you don't get the sale. You can't get discouraged if you don't get the sale, because if you get discouraged, you will lose the courage to go after the next sale. You got to remember something. People buy Nikes, people buy Adidas, people buy Felines. Just because somebody goes into a store and they didn't choose Nikes, you think Nike stopped making shoes? No. They went on to the next customer. And see, that's how you have to be. You can't let someone telling you their product's not for you to discourage you. You can't allow one person's opinion of your product to dictate how you interact with the next person. But the same thing goes for vice versa. If you get the sale, you can't get big-headed. Because if you get big-headed and you get cocky, that will start to rub off in your exposures with other people. And remember what I said, no one buys from a person that's cocky and arrogant. So you have to be able to detach emotionally from the outcome of the exposure of your product. See, once I did that, that was the game changer. See, when I first got into the travel business and network marketing, like I said, it was my first time doing sales. So there was a time where I would get upset when people would tell me no. I would get down when people would tell me no, it wasn't for them, you know? And what I did was, I remember it. I remember it clearly. You know, I remember I was leaving out of church, and I had a friend of mine that had been talking about travel, and I really said, you know what, this is really going to be something that they could benefit from. I just had it in my mind, but I didn't want to share it with them because I was scared of them saying no. And I remember, you know, I had just got into the business. I was just starting. And I said, I got to break this fear right now if I want to take this thing to the next level. So I remember saying, you know what? I don't care what happened. I'm just going to show them the deal, and I'm going to speak with confidence. Now, I remember getting in that car. I had let him get in my car, and I had it on my laptop. I was showing him the opportunity. And I remember saying this to him. I said, look, I got something you gotta see. I don't care if you like it or not. I just want you to see it because I think everybody needs an opportunity to see it. That set the tone. When I said I don't care if you like it or not, I just think everybody needs an opportunity to see it. So I just want to share it to you. When I said that boldly and confidently, it changed the dynamics because I didn't sound needy. I didn't sound thirsty. It pretty much showed him that I'm going to show you, and the next man. When I spoke in that confident manner, when I told him basically I could care less if you like it or not, I just wanted to show it to you, it did two things. For one, it took all the pressure off me because immediately it changed the atmosphere because it wasn't as if I needed him to sell. It wasn't as if I was trying to reel him in. He didn't feel like I needed him. He didn't feel like he was being pressured. I said it so confidently to the point where he was like, oh, well, let me see it first. Let me see it real fast before you show everybody else. See, because I was confident, he's like, hold up, don't show nobody else that. Let me see it first. And I just laughed in my head because I know the fear, the battle that I had mentally before that happened. And because I was able to operate with that boldness and that confidence, it changed the whole exposure for me. And that was really the big game changer in my business when I realized how to detach emotionally from the outcome of the actual exposure of the product. It changed everything. Every time I sat down with a client, I went into that meeting with the expectation that, look, I got the deal. You need this deal, but if you don't want this deal, it's cool. I'm just gonna I'm running through the numbers. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna show that person, I'm gonna show this person, I'm gonna show that person. You just one of hundreds. So let's do this. If you like it, cool. If you don't, cool. Thank you for your time. Next. That's how I was approaching it. Like, it didn't matter what the outcome was because I knew this. The people that God wanted in my business would come. I just had to run through the numbers to get to those people. So once I realized that it wasn't a reflection of me, it was a reflection of what they need in their life. Just because somebody tells you no doesn't mean that they're telling you no. They're just telling the opportunity no. Like I said earlier, people buy Reeboks, people buy Nikes, people buy Adidas, people buy Fila, people buy New Balances. Do you think Nike stopped making sneakers because somebody went in there and decided to purchase some Reeboks instead of their Nikes? No, that's just one customer. We're gonna go get the next one. We're gonna show the next person. Guarantee you somebody's gonna buy some. You're not gonna get the whole market, so you can't allow one person or a few people telling you no to discourage you. You just gotta understand it's part of the business. It's part of the process. Think about something. We tell people no all the time. The last time you went out to eat, if your waitress asked you for more tea and you didn't want none, you told her no. Does that mean you're saying she has bad tea? No, maybe you was full. If she asked you, did you need a to-go box, and you said no, does that mean that she did a bad job? No, you just didn't need it at that time. People say no all the time. People tell you no all the time. It's nothing personal. It's life. Don't take it personal. So remember, learn to detach emotionally from the outcome of the sale, and you'll become a powerhouse in the sales arena. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you, if you're building a business and you're not having the success you want, haven't gotten the sales that you want, it's okay. You just got to tweak some things. You got to implement some different habits, some different procedures, some different actions, and you can get there. Anybody can be a great salesman if you decide to be a good salesman. All you have to do, first and foremost, don't sell to you. Sell the customer on why they need your product. Have a confident attitude, but do not be cocky. Be knowledgeable of your product. Never, ever, ever sound needy or desperate for the sale. And lastly, learn to detach emotionally from the outcome of the exposure of your product. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Any one of you that's watching this video can become a great salesperson and increase your sales starting right now. But you have to remember to implement these 6 steps that we just discussed in order to see the transformation in your sales. So I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for listening to today's episode. If you have a topic you want to see me make a video on, leave the topics below in the comments. I'll go through them and make that happen for you. And remember to create the life you want and go be great. Peace. Holla at your boy.